Saturday Night Live stands as America's most iconic comedy institution, but it now faces an unprecedented political threat. Trump's media targeting campaign has systematically gone after television personalities who dare to criticize his administration. Colbert was dismissed, Kimmel removed, and Fallon targeted in sequence as Trump escalated his war on critical voices. Trump unleashes regulatory threats against talk shows and NBC's broadcast license, weaponizing FCC authority against critical coverage. Trump declares that networks with critical evening shows shouldn't have licenses, calling them an arm of the Democrat Party. SNL faces an existential choice as it enters its 51st season under unprecedented political pressure. SNL and Trump share a decade-long chain of satirical attacks and presidential retaliation, where comedy directly confronts political power. SNL sits at the center of a corporate web connecting Lorne Michaels, NBC, and parent company Comcast to the show's uncertain fate. Presidential power clashes directly with free speech principles, creating a fundamental conflict between authoritarian control and constitutional rights. The breaking point scenario imagines how a particularly sharp SNL skit could trigger unprecedented presidential retaliation. A devastating skit would target Trump's policy failures and character flaws, shaping public discourse in ways that enrage the president. FBI raids, congressional subpoenas, and license threats would all converge on Comcast to force compliance with Trump's demands. The result would be no more Live, no more From New York, and no more Saturday night satire of a president determined to eliminate criticism. SNL, as a cultural institution, stands in direct opposition to Trump's dictatorial rule, representing democratic satire versus authoritarian censorship. Corporate crisis mode grips media giants as they face unprecedented political pressure in boardroom battles. Trump prioritizes inflicting short-term corporate damage over winning legal battles, using intimidation as his primary weapon. Comcast board members, PR strategists, and legal counsel all face the same crisis decision about defending or sacrificing SNL. The conflict explodes into a national firestorm that extends far beyond corporate boardrooms into cultural and political warfare. Trump supporters celebrating attacks on fake news directly contradict free speech advocates defending constitutional rights and media independence. Public protests escalate from demonstrations to counter-demonstrations, then arrests, and ultimately deaths over a comedy show conflict. Democracy experts warn that when criticism becomes too dangerous to voice, we're no longer living in a democracy. Traditional democratic institutions have failed to check presidential overreach, leaving America vulnerable to authoritarian pressure. Congress won't act and the Supreme Court hides, while states and the public remain the last meaningful resistance to unchecked power. A comedy show could spark civil war through escalating political violence, making satire the unlikely trigger for national conflict. Lorne Michaels now holds the fate of American satire and perhaps democracy itself in this defining historic moment. The moment and the man have met, capturing how one producer's decision will determine whether American satire survives authoritarian pressure.